Hello there, it's Carrie Rhodes here. Welcome back to my YouTube channel and a new card making video. Today I am going to play with one tiny little stamp set and make 3 different cards with that set. They kind of all go together but are different in so many ways. And I thought it would help you to have some ideas on playing with smaller stamp sets like this 4x3 stamp set from Trinity Stamps called Baking Spirits Bright. This cute little gnome baking his Christmas goodies. And there are 2 sentiments and of course a coordinating die set to die cut out all the things. So let's jump into card number 1. First, I am using the A7 sized diamond eyelet background die. But my card front is actually 4 inches by 5 1/4 to fit on my A2 size card. But you can see you can make a bigger card with this, and that's super cool. I love all the detail that this die cuts out, and it really reminded me of something in the kitchen, like a tablecloth or a towel maybe. So I thought it would look really cool with red on white. So that's the background for my card. Next, I stamped out the cute little gnome. And I used Copic friendly ink on white paper so I could go ahead and color this with my Copic markers. So I am using R27 as my darkest red, and then I'll blend that out with R17. Now this is a small image, so you don't have to use a lot of colors to color that out, which is one thing I really like about smaller images, that you can do simple coloring and it can go fairly quickly. So I just picked out some of my favorite holiday colors because I love red with like an aqua minty green color. So that's the colors I decided to go with. And I also make gingerbread cookies every year. So I decided that the cookie dough should be gingerbread. So making those little choices really helped me to pick out the marker colors for this card. And for the white areas, I'm using some grays to add shadowing, the C2 and C0. I also use some C4 on his beard. Now I am going to use the same Copic markers throughout all my pieces that I'm coloring today, but I do change up the coloring just a little bit in like the color of the cookbook or the bowl or whatnot. So that just took the guesswork out of it when coloring out those other things. So here you can see me finish up all the little details, which some of these you don't even need to do much shading at all. I just added a little bit of color there to the eggs to give them the feel of being brown eggs. I thought that was really fun. The polka dot bowl is so cute. And then I wanted to make sure to color the batter to match the cookie dough. But here's one thing I did forget, but I will go back, is do you see the cookie dough has like the cookie shape already taken out of it. It's already been cut out. I did forget to color that opening, so don't forget that, to color it the same colors, whatever you decide to make the countertop be, and then you'll be fine. But I did remember to go back and do it later. So that pretty much finishes up the image, but I also thought it would be cute to do a little shadow all the way around him, so I will do that with my darkest, or my lightest actually, BG marker, and that just gives him a fun little glow and helps him kind of stand out from that background around him, and very cute. He's very darling. And another thing I love to do is add a white highlight with a white gel pen. So I will do that. Just some dots and lines around this image are really going to help it pop. There you can see the white highlights. They look so good on there. All right, so we're going to set that aside and stamp a sentiment. I'm using 2 stamp sets, the Simply Sentimental Holidays and Simply Sentimental Happy. That's another way to get more use out of your smaller stamp sets, is to pair it with maybe other stamp sets that you have, like a sentiment set. Now this happens to have matching fonts for each of the different happies. So I chose the one that has the opening you can color in and use my BG markers to color that in on both the happy and the holidays. And I'll glue that down to my card, happy at the top and holidays at the bottom, and then I can add my die cut gnome piece right to the middle, and I'm using foam squares to put that on. And then we need some embellishment also. Oh yes, the sentiment, Baking Spirits Bright, stamped with black ink on white paper and die cut out. And then my embellishments are these Bubblemints. I've been using these a lot lately. You might have seen them in a previous video. They're little peppermint candies, and they have red and pink stripes and white. And they're clay bits, so they're lightweight, they're very thin, and they make for a great embellishment to finish off card number 1. So that's a really quick and easy card. So we're going to take it up a notch for card number 2. If you've watched any of my videos, you probably already know that I love a shaker card. So that's what I'm going to do for card number 2. And I have something really cool for the frame on the shaker card. The die set on the left is the new Dainty Edge Scalloped Rectangle die set from Trinity Stamps. I die cut out the largest rectangle, and then I took the third from the largest rectangle from that die set and die cut out an opening. Now you could use that frame for your shaker card. Plus I have this other piece I can save and use for something else. And that frame there would be great for a shaker card. And let me show you also how nicely this fits on an A2 size card. It's got a little bit of an edge showing all the way around. I think it's perfect. So I decided I could really take this up a notch by adding something to the center, adding onto this frame. So I die cut that same third from the largest rectangle, and then I'm going to bring in that coordinating rectangle set I showed you at the beginning. It's the modern edged rectangle die set, and use one of those dies to cut out the center of this, and that's going to give me a really thin frame, but it's going to nestle right in with my red frame and kind of give me a double frame look, and it just adds that layer of something extra special. So to stick this all together, first, I'm going to adhere the window sheet to the back of my red frame. Using the liquid glue holds this down really well, and I'm using the Crafty Gluefriend from Trinity Stamps. I'm really loving this glue because I am able to get a fine line of glue, which works great for this thin die cut. Then I can stick this down to the window sheet and have that double frame look for my shaker. Now, if you have any glue that oozes out, I like to use a dry baby wipe or even paper towel to pick up that excess glue. It works really good. Okay, to stamp this gnome out, I'm again going to color it with Copic, so I have Copic friendly ink, stamping it and coloring it up just as I did before. I changed up a few things, but it's probably not noticeable, and I'm not die cutting it out. I need it to be full size so it can be the background for my shaker. I'm using some foam strips here to create the reservoir, as I like to call it, for my shaker, and I'm making sure that the foam is connected and touching on all the ends so that none of my shaker elements can escape. Speaking of shaker elements, I'm using the Bubblemint again and some clear seed beads. The seed beads add a really nice sound to your shaker, and they help the shaker elements really move around inside the card. So now I can stick down my frame over the top of that, and I just like to go nice and slow so I don't really have to worry too much about getting it crooked. And then I have my shaker panel. But we need a sentiment on this one, so I'm using the Christmas Spice and Everything Nice this time, and I will die cut it out with the coordinating die. You can see that these dies cut around the words kind of in a bubble cut, so it's not just a straight edge die. It gives you a little bit of detail, and I think that's so cute. I have the perfect space for my sentiment right at the top of the card, so I'll glue that in place, and then we can stick this down to the card base. And again, look how nice it fits on the A2. I love the border it leaves around it. To embellish this a little bit more, I am adding a bow. This is just ribbon I grabbed one time. I was at the dollar store, I saw it, and I just love like red gingham. I think it's great for summer, it's great for Christmas, and this ribbon is actually really thin, so I liked it for card making because bows can get kind of bulky, but this one's not. So I stuck it down with a giant glue dot to finish off this super cute shaker card, and it is ready to go. Isn't it fun? So cute. Okay, so let's throw in a little bonus project. I wanted to make a tag to go with that card, so I thought a cookie on a cookie sheet would be cute, but why not use the scalloped edge rectangle for the cookie sheet from Silver Cardstock? For my gingerbread man, I'm using the Santa mug die set. I have yet to use the gingerbread man, so I wanted to do that. There's 2 pieces to create the gingerbread man. There's a shadow layer that goes behind him, and 1 die for everything else, which is so cool. This one die cuts out the eyes, the buttons, the smile, and the little frosting detail. So I'm going to glue all of this down, and tweezers and like a pickup tool are your friend when it comes to these teeny tiny die cuts. Yeah, I just can't imagine trying to grab one of those little eyeballs with my finger and glue it down. So thank goodness for all these fancy tools we have nowadays, right? Yeah, so I did not use the die cut buttons. I ended up using my Bubblemints, which I think added a really fancy little touch to my cookie. Speaking of fancy, all the white pieces I die cut out for this gingerbread man, I die cut from white glitter paper. So it gives it that little extra oomph, little sugary look. So now I'm gluing him down to a shadow layer, which I think just really finishes this off. You could also stamp it as a sugar cookie or die cut it as a sugar cookie, and the background would be the cookie, the top layer could be the frosting. So I am doing a red sentiment for this. You can see, stamped it in red, die cut it out, and that's going to go right below my gingerbread man on his fancy little cookie sheet. But this is what I have to know. Does it bother you to stamp your clear stamps in red ink, knowing that they're going to be stained forever red? Please tell me somebody else has this dilemma. Like, I really have to decide if it's worth it to stamp something in red ink. So to tie my tag onto something, I decided to add an eyelet to the top, because if I put the twine like through the scalloped part, it could rip off, but you could do that. So I thought an eyelet would be really cool. Plus I have my brand new Crop-A-Dile as a gift from a friend. So I love it. I am using it more and more because it's kind of a new thing to me. My other one broke, so I'm loving it. Okay, now I have sprinkles for Santa. They're little clay Santa heads, and they also kind of reminded me of the gnome. So I thought they would be really fun to add to this cookie sheet. Plus I'm all into embellishments. As you can tell, I don't stop with the embellishments today. No, let's add some more. Let's put some Bubblemints on there. And when you think that's enough, it's not. No, I added more. I have these clear glitter enamel dots. They have adhesive on the back, and I'm just using my little tool here to grab them and stick them down. But what you can't see from here is the glitter inside of these enamel dots. Look at that. It's like a magical snow globe. I think they're so gorgeous. So that finishes off my tag, and there's a nice white space on the back. I can add my to and from. So there's our little bonus project, a little break from the cards. But if you didn't get enough, here's one more card, and this card has a kind of cute surprise in it. So this is a Z-fold card. I have an 8.5 by 5.5 piece of cardstock, and I am scoring it at 4 1/4 and 2 1/8. Now this is a classic Z-fold card. Then you're going to take this, fold it in half like you would any card, and then you're going to fold the top flap back onto itself, and that creates the Z-fold, just like that. Very easy to do. But now we're going to do some fancy die cutting. So I'm going to take the die that cuts out the gnome, center it over that scored line. I was a little nervous that I might get it crooked. I didn't want my gnome to be crooked. So I decided to use the stamp set itself as a reference, and that helped me make sure I didn't get it a little wonky. So I'm going to tape that into place and only partially die cut this. So you want to put the plate on that scored line. Then the die cutting machine is only going to cut where that top plate is. So it's not going to cut to the left of the line where my plate did not cover that die. So I have this fun little opening here now and place to add my stamped image. Before I do that, I want to add a piece of polka dot background paper. This is from the winter collection of papers from Trinity Stamps, and I thought it was a good match. Here's my gnome. You can see this time I put both colors on his hat. I've got a red tablecloth, a blue bowl. I just changed it all up. Really cute. So now I can die cut this out, and then I have the perfect spot for him to go right on my card and line it up with that cut piece. Now you could forego the fancy die cutting of the card base and just stick your die cut down, but then you're going to see the coloring behind it, and it's just kind of fun that that lays flat when you open that card up and it goes like back into the card. All right, so I'm stamping my sentiment. It already had red ink on it, so I might as well do another red sentiment, right? Yeah. Okay, so stamp that at the bottom on my scalloped rectangle, the largest one again. And this is going to be a nice little inlay for my card, and it kind of adds a fancier touch to the overall look of the card. So now I have some candy apple red clay hearts. I'm going to add these down, and I kind of thought the card could be done right here. It'd be simple, it's cute. But then the next morning came and I was like, oh no, this card is not done. Let's add a second sentiment. So I stamped Christmas spice and everything nice onto some minty green cardstock, or aqua, it's kind of aqua. And then I am going to actually glue 2 more die cuts to the back of that to make it more sturdy, because I'm going to have this hang off the card. So it's halfway on the folded side and overlapping the background side, just like that. And yeah, I decided we needed some more embellishments. Some Bubblemints would look great, because look at my little surprise. I have another gingerbread man, and he's gonna go on the inside of the card. So I added glue to the back, and I'm going to line him up with that opening in my card, and then just close the card onto itself. And then I know my gnome is going to hide it until you open it up, and then you see the little gingerbread man. I thought that was really fun. Plus, look here, I added some more of those clear enamel dots with the glitter, and then I felt this card was done. Look how great the Z fold stands up. So, you know, people are going to want to display it because it stands up so easily. So there's all 3 of the cards. I did go with the same color schemes, but I played around with shakers, a fun fold, a cool background die, brought in another stamp set to zhuzh it up a little bit, and I even made the coordinating tag to go with. I think it probably goes with the Z fold card the best, don't you think? Yeah. All right. Well, I thank you for stopping by and letting me share my creations with you. I had so much fun with these cards, and I hope that you found a little something new you could try, and you're inspired to go make yourself. So I will see you guys all again very soon on the next video. If you're new here, feel free to subscribe, because I have new videos all the time, and I'll be back with new cards very soon. Happy stamping! Bye!